Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the playbook for building a successful startup. If you've ever had that light bulb moment, that great idea, and thought, now what? Well, this is for you.
All right, let's just jump right in. But first, we gotta face a pretty harsh reality. And this isn't just a random number. This comes straight from government data. A staggering 9 out of 10 Indian startups fail. That's a huge number.
And this timeline, it really paints a picture of just how brutal that journey is. Look at this. The vast majority, a full 90% of those failures, they happen in the very first year. Then, most of what's left just kind of fades away by year 3. By the time you get to that 5 to 7 year mark, you're looking at a tiny, tiny fraction. And the punchline? After a whole decade, only a tiny 1%, of all those startups are actually still around and profitable. Insane, right? Okay, but look, don't let those numbers freak you out. Think of it like a super tough exam. Yeah, most people fail, but the ones who actually prepare, they pass. And this right here, this is your study guide. It's the roadmap. We're going to cover why so many fail, the whole idea versus execution debate, the actual blueprint, how to make your first rupee, growing without crashing, and most importantly, the mindset you absolutely need. So let's do this.
Just to really wrap your head around the scale of this, think about it. Every single year, you have tens of thousands of new startups popping up. And what the data tells us is, pretty much all of them are going to disappear. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. It's just about going in with your eyes wide open, respecting the game.
So what's fascinating is why all these startups are failing. You'd think, right, that it's because they didn't have a good enough idea, but that's probably the biggest misconception out there. Yeah, this quote just nails it. Ideas, they're everywhere. They're a dime a dozen. What really matters, the thing that separates the winners from the other 99%, is the grind, the hard work of actually making it happen. Execution is everything, period. And trust me, I learned this lesson the hard way, twice. Back in 2014, I had an idea for an app connecting you with plumbers, electricians, you know the drill. And I did nothing. I just sat on it. A year later, boom, Urban Company launches with my exact idea and crushes it. Then, 2015, I try again, grocery delivery. This time, I did execute. I was literally out there buying and delivering vegetables myself. But I had no clue how to scale it. So, failure. 2 different stories, same lesson. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's get to the good stuff. The actual, actionable blueprint. Here's how you build this thing, step by step. Right, first things first, your initial goal is not to build this perfect, beautiful, feature-packed dream product. Forget that. It's to build what we call a minimum viable product, an MVP. We're talking the absolute simplest, most bare-bones version of your idea that you can put in front of real people just to see if it even solves a problem they care about. And Zomato is the classic, perfect example of this. When they started, they didn't have a fancy app or delivery tracking or any of that. Nope. They found a super simple problem. People needed to see restaurant menus. So what did they do? They went to restaurants, took photos of their menus, and just uploaded them to a basic website. That's it. And it was genius because it was simple, cheap, and it proved immediately that millions of people wanted this. And the cool thing is, you can find these problems everywhere if you're just paying attention to the big trends. Take something like hyper-personalization, right? Generic advice just doesn't cut it anymore. Or sustainability. All that e-commerce packaging is a huge problem. Heck, even the loneliness economy. Remote work is creating totally new social needs. Every single one of these themes is just packed with problems waiting for a simple MVP solution. All right, so you've got your MVP. You've proven people are interested. Now comes the moment of truth. The next critical step is to prove that anyone, will actually pull out their wallet and pay for what you've built. This is where your idea officially starts becoming a real business. And look, don't get obsessed with millions of users or profits right now. Your first job is simple. Get your first 100 users. Beg, borrow, post on social media, tell your friends, whatever it takes. And once you have them, your only other goal is to see if even one of them will pay. Just one. Because even a single rupee is validation that you've created something of actual value. And there are a ton of proven ways to make this happen. You could go with a subscription model like Netflix, or a one-time payment. You could take a commission on every transaction, like Zomato. Or you could do the freemium thing like Spotify, where the basics are free, but you pay for the good stuff. Honestly, the specific model doesn't matter as much as just proving that a model works. Okay, you've proved people will pay.
The next chapter is all about growth, about scaling up. But this is where things get really dangerous. It's a total minefield. This is where so many promising startups get a little cash, get a little excited, and then make some really, really bad decisions.
Let me tell you a quick story to show you what real vision looks like. There were these two recent IIT grads, super passionate about their AI startup. One of them gets a job offer for 1.5 crore rupees, a huge amount. And he said no. His co-founder gets an even bigger offer, 5 crore rupees. I mean, that's life-changing money. And he turned it down too. Why? Because they believed in what they were building. And you know what? That belief, that insane focus on execution, it paid off. They ended up raising 500 million rupees for their startup. It just goes to show you, when you execute relentlessly, the big money finds you.
But here's the catch. Getting the money is one thing, not messing it up is a whole other challenge. This is where the ego can kill a company. Founders start hiring massive teams just to feel like a big shot. They start spending investor money like it's monopoly money because, hey, it's not theirs. And they forget that in the beginning, the founder has to be the one doing everything. So the rule for hiring is actually dead simple. You hire only when you are completely swamped with work, when adding one more person will make the whole company more productive. You're not hiring to feel like a boss. You're hiring to get more done. That's it. At the end of the day, all of this, the MVP, the first rupee, scaling smart, it all boils down to one single thing, the mindset that's driving you. And that mindset starts with just demolishing the biggest myths that stop people from even starting. First, you do not need a huge pile of cash. So many billion-dollar companies were bootstrapped. Second, you don't have to quit your job. You can totally build this thing on nights and weekends. And third, like we've been saying, you don't need some perfect, unique idea. A simple idea with amazing execution will win every single time. So if we boil it all down, what's the one thing you actually need? It's not the perfect idea. It's not a ton of funding. Those things help, sure. But the real engine, the one thing you absolutely cannot do this without, is a relentless, obsessive hustler mentality. The drive to just get things done no matter what. So there it is. That's the blueprint. The path from a little idea to a real impactful business. We've laid it all out for you. The only question left is, are you ready to hustle?